It is 9:05:30 in the morning, hard time. A little earlier than that out on the West Coast, and I have a special guest this morning, Glenn Falkenstein. Did I pronounce the last name right?
That's fine. Glenn Falkenstein.
Close enough.
Dick.
Good to be talking with you, Glenn.
Thank you, Ken. How are you?
I'm fine, and I trust you are too, even though it is early in the morning.
You're a mentalist.
Well, no, you are. You're a magician mentalist, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Which means you do what?
Well, when I say magic, the kind of magic that I do, like anything else, magic has become kind of specialized. You've got illusionists, you've got sleight of hand magicians. The kind of magic that I'm into is East Indian magic, and that's a very special kind of magic, and I've been performing it out here in the West Coast for many years now. Originally, I'm from Chicago. As a matter of fact, I was just out there for a big pool show right there at the O'Hare Convention Center. Just got back, as a matter of fact, yesterday.
So you travel all around the country putting on shows.
That's right. And when I say East Indian magic, it's a specialized magic, and it gives me some kind of a superpower. Instead of doing little tricks, sleight of hand tricks, I demonstrate a power that I have. As I say, it's a special branch of magic. Other kinds of East Indian magic, walking on nails, laying on a bed of glass, being able to see without the use of your eyes, that kind of a thing.
Do you believe? Do you do mind reading and that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's actually thought reading.
Okay. Do you believe in psychic abilities and that kind of thing?
Not really. No, I don't foster a belief in the psychic. For instance, when we get into this in just a few minutes, if your listeners have some watches that they'd like repaired, they can start getting them now. And if they'd like to bend a spoon, we can try a little test, and I can actually show you what happens. They can get a spoon from their kitchen very quickly, and we'll count to 10. We'll talk a little bit more, and then we can take phone calls, and we'll have repaired those watches, or we'll have bent a spoon.
Well, wait a minute. You're putting me on here. You mean
No.
You're going to repair somebody's watch?
Sure. If somebody has a broken watch, why, go get it right now. Put it by the radio.
All right. I hope if anybody's listening out there and does have indeed a broken watch, they'll go get it. What about this spoon, though? You actually bend spoons?
Oh yeah, sure. We can take any kind of a spoon from the kitchen, and if they hold the spoon during the experiment and kind of rub the spine of the spoon, that spoon will just seem to melt. I do advise that people in cars, when they're driving to work, or if they happen to be out picking someone up, just don't experiment with us. It could be dangerous.
I don't mean to laugh at this, but this is...
No. We used to do this all... And I had a show here on the West Coast from Universal Studios. And we would, once a week, we would do a different kind of experiment. Actually, I did the show at Universal, and one week we did a levitation, and that was a very interesting thing. We had especially tall tour guides on the tour. We would have an audience in our studio, about 200, 300, 400 people, and we would try it in the studio, and people would experiment along with us at home, and we actually had some people kind of float to the ceiling, but with the especially tall tour guides, we could pull them back down.
Let me break for a commercial. Obviously, we're off and rolling, and this is going to be an unusual half hour. I can see that. Let's get back here in a minute, though. We'll ask the people to gather their watches if they're not running, and maybe get a spoon if they'd like it bent here in just a second. Tonight, enjoy a homemade Italian dinner at Beningo's. You'll like everything on their menu, from the ravioli to the special Italian desserts. Have a plate of steaming spaghetti, mostaccioli, or scallopini, all served with a crisp salad and bread. And best of all, tonight, you can get veal parmesan and veal scallopini for a special price. Veal parmesan is just $3.95, and veal scallopini is $4.15. So tonight, why not treat yourself to the best homemade Italian dinners in town at Beningo's, 610 West Chestnut in Bloomington. Glenn Falkenstein is our guest this morning, and we'll be back in a minute.
Chevy's National Economy Drive is on.
Chevy's got the drive.
Chevy's got it.
Chevy's got the drive.
Come and get it.
cars and trucks, yeah, you're in luck. It's Chevy's National Economy Drive. Oh.
Come take a special mileage meter test drive at participating Chevy dealers that lets you see how good driving skills can improve your gas mileage. Come get Chevy's free booklet on fuel-saving tips, all to help you go farther on less. Then see the mileage and value in all the new 1980 Chevy cars, trucks, and vans during Chevy's National Economy Drive.
Chevy's got the drive.
Chevy's got it.
Chevy's got the drive.
Come and get it. Buy and trade, you got it made. It's Chevy's National Economy Drive. Oh.
Come in during Chevy's National Economy Drive. You'll be glad you did.
Chevy's got the drive. Chevy's got it. It's Chevy's National Economy Drive.
At your Chevy dealers now.
All right, if you've been to Knott's Berry Farm out in California, people may have seen you, right, Glenn?
Oh, yes, of course. In fact, I just finished the thing out there Halloween.
And, well, most recently you were quoted in We Magazine, and you were talking about this, the fact that you don't foster a belief in spiritualism or the occult. And obviously you're on the phone with us this morning from California. Now, what about this watch business and the spoon business? If people have gathered their spoons and watches.
Try this experiment right now. I'm going to count to 10. If you have a spoon, I want you to just very lightly rub the spine of that spoon. And you'll notice that the spoon is starting to get hot right now. It's a little warm. It's getting a little warmer. Your watch, if you hold on to the watch, now take it in your hand, hold on to that watch, hold it in front of that radio, and you're concentrating on the watch. The watch, all of a sudden, will also be a little bit warm. It's in your hand, and it's starting to tick, as a matter of fact. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The spoon is actually starting to bend now. It's actually visibly bending. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, there's actually a bend, and that spoon will not only is bending, but will continue to bend throughout the show while we're on the air. That watch has started to tick and will remain ticking. And now, if you give Ken a call, you can talk to me, and I'd like to find out if something did happen that watch is ticking. Give us a call, and would like to listen to it. And that spoon, as a matter of fact, is very hot now and is still bending. So if your spoon is bent or if the watch is ticking, why, give us a call.
Okay.
In the West Coast, and as a matter of fact, everywhere we've tried this experiment, literally, oh my goodness, it is early in the morning. Thousands of spoons. We have thousands. Here on the West Coast, we have a little meter on the phone, and we would get anywhere from 10 to 20,000 telephone calls at one time. I mean, that little meter would just spin around.
Maybe you have very weak metal spoons out in California. I'm not sure. But our number is 829-2345 or 1-800-322-9377. Are you calling about what we're talking about this morning?
My watch didn't work.
Your watch still doesn't work?
No.
Well, don't give up, because if you want to continue, if the lines were cleared at the beginning, what I want you to do is to leave the lines open so that people whose watches started can get through.
Okay.
So, but that's all right, because if your watch isn't working now, it may just be working in about 5 minutes from now. So don't give up.
You wanted to keep holding on to that watch?
Keep on holding on to that watch.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Maybe somebody else had some luck here. How about you?
Well, I'm not going to give you my name, but the spoon is bent.
Is it starting to bend? Is it very warm?
It sure is.
Yeah, and will continue to bend if you'll notice, and especially if you take that spoon and take another spoon from your drawer. It's amazing exactly what happens, because it not only it will visibly bend, but it will keep on bending all day, and eventually, if you'll watch it, why, the bowl will actually drop off.
Gosh, it's real eerie.
Yeah, it's nothing strange, and don't be frightened with it. What we're doing is just collecting energy from all over, from all the people that are listening to Ken, which might be 75, 85,000 listeners out there, and we're collecting that energy and using it all together, and that's just about all there is to it.
It's really bending, ma'am.
It sure is. Yep.
Very noticeably.
Mm-hmm. Start at the end, and it's really hooked up on the end, and that's real weird.
Did it bend where you were holding it, or did it bend in a different place?
No, it's just bending on the end, and it's bending up.
Let me get back to some more phone calls. I thank you for calling. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Well, I have a watch that started ticking, and it ticked for about 10 seconds, and then it stopped, and I'll be darned if it isn't starting again.
Oh, yeah. In fact, sometimes it takes a little longer to get started. You'll find that it will tick, and it'll stop and start, and then in about an hour or so, the watch will remain ticking, and you'll have saved yourself about $25 or $30. We don't like to do this too much because we put some watch repairmen out of business on the West Coast, so I don't do it too often. But good luck, congratulations.
Well, this is a very old watch, and it hasn't run for years. Do you mean to tell me this thing will start working?
Oh, it'll start working, and will work better than ever. As I say, it will continue to tick. I had a fella call me, was listening to me on radio. I was did a lot of radio with Hilly Rose on the West Coast, and they were driving along. He had a late evening show. In fact, he still does out here on a KMTC, which is a local radio station. He was on another radio station at the time. And people were listening to us, and they said, "My goodness, I would love to experiment. We've got an old grandfather's clock." In fact, we got a letter on this, and they finally reached me. They have an old grandfather's clock at home. They were about 100 miles from home on their way there, and they said, "Well, gee, too bad we aren't home. We could start this clock." And they were thinking about the clock. They got home, and the grandfather's clock was working, and it hadn't worked for maybe 6 months, and they were going to have it repaired.
Ma'am, did you wind the clock or this watch?
No, I didn't. I was wondering if I should start winding it now.
Oh, yeah, you can start winding it. You can treat it, in fact, in about 10 or 15 minutes, I would treat it just like an ordinary watch. It will continue to give you very good service, and thank you very much for your telephone.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
That's incredible, Glenn. Good morning. How are you?
Fine. I tried 3 watches.
Yeah.
2 are running, and one, just as I was listening, started to tick intermittently. And it hasn't run, I know, for 40 years. Now, I have to confess that I did shake the other 2 when they started.
Well, sometimes that will help. You know, it's not necessary. Actually, you're going to give some movement to the watches naturally when you pick them up, but it doesn't account for the reliability of the watches once they do start ticking, and once they are repaired. You can wear them, you can keep them. They all start working and continue to work.
This is all right. That's what I wanted to know, how long it was going to last. I know the one that's 40 years old is ticking again on and off.
Did you have the watch sitting on the radio, ma'am?
Okay, I had 2 sitting on the radio and 1 beside the radio. See, I really running an experiment.
Uh-huh.
And
did you feel ridiculous at first?
right, but I've had these watches, and I thought if something will repair them, I'll try anything once. And now I've got 2 that look like they're sure winners and 1 that's sort of 50-50.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible.
I think so, too, because I am a non-believer in this type of thing.
Well, listen, I'm a non-believer, too, until we try these experiments. Ken, you ought to listen to the radio when we do experiments in levitation. When people actually float up in the air, and it's not them, it's chairs just seem to go up visibly, noticeably in the air. I had a woman call me about a cat. Her cat floated right in the air. So it's not strange. It's just what all people have to do is to concentrate, and these things happen. Not only do we do things with levitation, we do moving of objects, telekinesis, where experiments where you put a package of cigarettes or some heavy object on the floor. We concentrate and they actually move. What the answer to these things are, the kinds of experiments we do, I don't know. Generally, when I did shows like this, why we would have someone from the National Enquirer sit in with me, mm-hmm. and as a kind of so that we weren't faking it. Of course, a lot of these things could be fake, but when you're dealing with thousands of people and they're calling in and seeing these things happen, well, it's just a kind of a strange phenomenon when you aren't used to it. But as soon as you get used to it and you do these things and you open your mind, because that's what all it is having people have an open mind about these things.
Ma'am, thank you for calling.
Thank you.
I wonder if we have anybody else that had a spoon bent by any chance. Where are you calling from?
Gridley, will you repeat what we're supposed to do? We come in late.
Oh, you came in late?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything they can do now or not, Glenn. The experiment's sort of been done, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of been done. You'd have to do it along with us, but we can try something some other time. Ken would be glad to.
Sure. Thank you for calling, ma'am. I'm sorry you missed the very beginning of this. All right?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
But thank you for calling. WJBC, good morning.
Yes, I have a watch.
Yes?
And I was holding it, and nothing happened.
Nothing happened with your watch?
No.
But don't give up, because, as I say, we've had people call in before. In other words, before we start the experiment. And they take the watch, and they put it in front of the radio, or they hold on to the watch, and, nothing happens. However, they would come down to the studio maybe a week later, and they would actually show me the watch, and it would start to tick.
Mm-hmm.
So any time during the day, if you put that watch, keep it by the radio. If nothing happened, that's all right. But keep it by the radio, and when you get home this evening, you'll take a look at that watch, and by George, the watch will be working.
You have to think positively about it, right?
Oh, yeah. Then that's the whole thing with all of these, this kind of phenomenon. Take it with a grain of salt. Think positively. Reject any negative things that are in your life, and it will happen for you.
Sir, I thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Let me break for a commercial or two, Glenn, and we'll get back. I was real intrigued with the lady that had the spoon that really bent. Let me break for a commercial, like I say. We'll get right back.
Good morning, Mrs. Phillips.
Hi, Mr. Fresher.
Oh, call me Miles.
Okay, Miles. Do you have any chocolate milk on your lash truck today?
I sure do. In fact, our chocolate milk won a blue ribbon at this year's Illinois State Fair.
That's impressive. I'd also like some chocolate and vanilla ice cream.
2 more winners, Mrs. Phillips. They both won blue ribbons. And just to boast a little more, we won 7 blue ribbons in all at the State Fair. Anything else today?
Oh, just my regular order of lash hole milk.
You know...
Don't tell me. Your milk won a blue ribbon,
How'd
too?
you know?
Tell me, Mr. Fresher.
Call me Miles.
I forgot. Why is your milk so good?
What's my name again?
Miles Fresher.
Lash milk is fresher because it comes right from this area. Lash is a small local dairy, so you can be sure of the best supervision. Lots of TLC goes into their award-winning products. Milk, cottage cheese, ice cream, and more. Every item offered by Lash Dairy is the best it can be. Serve your family the finest dairy products from the Lash Route Man or from any one of the 3 Lash dairy bars. And remember, Lash milk is days fresher.
Oh, call me Miles.
We only have a couple of more minutes left to spend together. Do you have a comment to make this morning?
Yeah, I had an electric clock, which hasn't run, and I couldn't possibly get it to run. And I've tried it many times, so I was going to take it to the clock man. And when you started talking, I was in the kitchen, and I had it on the table to take in, and I just plugged it in here. It didn't work, and so I picked it up and brought it in by the radio and concentrated, and this thing is running. I don't believe it. It has a second hand, so...
Seems to be running without any problem, though.
Yeah, and as I say, that clock, it doesn't matter whether it's a wind-up watch or if it's electric watch. That watch will continue to...
I'm delighted.
The clock will continue to run.
Thank you.
Will not give you any trouble. And what amazes me is that it will be extremely accurate.
Okay, one more phone call, Glenn.
Okay.
Thank you for calling, ma'am. You're it. You have any luck?
Yes. I had a watch that I let my grandchildren play with. It hasn't run. And it's gone about 15 minutes, not quite, 12 minutes.
And it's keeping perfect time.
Yes, it is.
You didn't try the spoon, though, huh?
No.
Just the one lady must have tried the spoon that we've heard from.
No, you've got some others on there. It's just that they haven't been able to get through. See, what happens is that you get a terrific jam up of calls, and because when these things happen, people will try to get through. You'll get all kinds of cards and letters on this experiment within the next 3 or 4 days, and you'll be amazed at the kind of positive reaction that you'll get from this kind of thing.
Thank you for calling, ma'am.
Yes.
I said that was going to be the last call, but let me take one more.
Okay.
How about you? Hello?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Neither one of mine worked.
My watch is not running. My spoon is not bending.
Neither one of them.
Right.
All right.
So they'll give up because they'll continue to bend.
Don't give up. I would say by the far majority, people were having them run here. At least the ones we heard from, obviously, Glenn.
Yeah.
And indeed, a lady did call with a spoon that bent. That's incredible. Listen, I want to talk to you again sometime if it's...
Okay, Ken, we can do some other experiments. I also do readings on the phone where people call in and they have a question and I answer the question for them. But again, I don't foster a belief in the occult. Everything I do is meant for entertainment and only entertainment.
You must have one heck of an act, I'll tell you that.
Well, I was just there. I was doing a thing for Teledyne Lars, the pool heater company, and I did 4 shows a day from their booth at the O'Hare Convention Center. It was a lot of fun. I also appeared in Vegas at the Hilton with Ann Margaret and Lake Tahoe out here. Do the Merv Griffin show on occasion, and Mike Douglas, and cable television. You have cable television out there?
We do, right.
Yeah, Showtime. I did a special for Showtime, so people might have seen me. I wear a blindfold, $2 $2 and 8 pieces of adhesive tape, and then I guess people's names and birthdays and social security numbers and so on.
It's incredible. Glenn, I'll let you go because I know you have another engagement to reach.
Okay.
To do this
Ken,
one.
thank you. Can I leave you with one last thought?
Sure.
Did you get it?
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.